Reynolds.
Here.
Steve Lawrence.
Here.
Jim Bears. Okay, we have quorum. Call the meeting to order. You kind of stand and join me while we honor our country and state flags. Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. On the planetary flag, pledge allegiance to thee, Texas, one state, under God, one and indivisible. Thank you very much. Is anyone signed up for public comment? Okay. And four, is there any adjustments at all required? Okay. Moving on to consent agenda. Does any director want any items removed or discussed on the consent agenda? All right, can I get a motion and a second to accept the consent agenda?
I move we accept the consent agenda.
A second.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. All in favor, say aye. Aye. Those, okay. Regular agenda, received monthly report from SJRA.
All right, well, good morning.
Morning.
So I do have a few items to cover. Nothing to highlight in our monthly operations report that's in your packet. If you have any questions, we can go through those. If not, I do have some other things to cover real quick. The first is going to be a handout here from Ed. It's an email on the top. What we're asking for y'all to do is take a look at this and get any questions you have back to Eric. But essentially this email from Ed is going through the process that we use to determine what a project is and how much it's going to cost, as well as all the engineering that goes with it. So you can see it's a pretty lengthy document, but it does go basically step by step of developing the project, condition assessments, SOQs, RFQs, construction, the whole thing. This process was requested by some of the MUDs, so we figured we'd give it to everybody, let y'all take a look at it, then get questions back to us. That's what this one will be. The next two items I'm going to cover do touch on the next two agenda items, but they're not covering the next two agenda items. So the first is on page 64 in your packet. Some of the directors had asked for a timeline. Once the AC Waterline Supplemental Agreement is approved, what does the next 6-12 months look like? And then how does construction go from there? Page 64 is the high-level overview of that schedule. So as you can see, it starts with the MUDs approving the supplemental agreement no later than June or July of 26. If you choose to vote on it today, that's perfectly fine, but we just chose to push it out there to June or July, and then you can see from there when we sell the bonds, when the rate changes, when the construction begins, so on and so forth.
Who owns the easements for Town Center Waterline? Who are we getting them from?
There's about 5 or 6 that are private entity. The vast majority of them are going to be Howard Hughes. So that's in there for your information. The next item is this one sheet right here, this memo. If you don't have one, let me know. It's a very important document that I put together. What this is last week at the trustees meeting, there was a proposal presented by the River Authority to move forward with wastewater plant 1. This document, you need one?
Yeah.
This is a pivot, a change to that presentation. What the River Authority is recommending when it comes to wastewater plant 1 is to no longer do the 4 comparison study that's currently in play right now. What we're looking to ask y'all to do at the May trustees meeting is approve stopping that project to do the 4 comparative analysis, then move forward with a repair in place option. So no more studying, no new option for a new plant, no new MBR plant, no replace in place, but just strictly repair the facility as it sits and then move forward from there. So the 3 things we're looking for is 1, do a repair in place option. Then the 2 other items are to use the funds that we have to right size the facility. We know there's been questions. Is it 217 gallons per SFDE? Is it 200 gallons per SFDE? Is it lower? Is it somewhere in between? What we don't want to do is we don't want to keep the same plant at 7.8 MGD if the MUDs don't need 7. It could be 7, it could be 6.5. So what we want to do is use some of those funds we currently have on hand to work with a consultant at TCEQ to figure out, okay, how big does the plant need to be? Does it need to be 7, 7.5, whatever. Once you get that number, all the new assets you build will be to that size. That way you don't waste money building additional concrete you don't need, okay? The other thing is taking a cue from the HDR AC water line is item 2B. we want to develop a tiered strategy for replacement of the plant, repair of the plant. Okay. So instead of saying, 1 year we need 20 million, then 3 years we did another assessment, we need 20 million. We want to come up with, here's tier 1 for replacement of the facility, and it's going to last 5 to 10 years. And these are all the things we have to get done. Ballpark estimate is $20-30 million. Once all those things are done, we'll go to a tier 2 and do another condition assessment and say, okay, at year 10, we do another condition assessment, and this is what needs to be done. So just like our project plan and just like the HDR report, tier 1, repair this. We know that's what we're doing for 5-10 years. Tier 2, next 10 to 15 years, this is what you do. So at the end, what we're looking for is repair in place, right size the facility, and a tiered repair strategy for wastewater plant 1. And so that's the recommendation. That's what this sheet says. And that's what we're going to look and be looking for the trustees to vote in May.
Chris, repair in place. Some of that is probably total replacement. I would think the headworks are a mess, as an
Right.
example.
Yeah.
So that's the kind of thing I can understand. Might need just level it, clean it out and build it new.
Agree. So
Okay.
right off the bat, you're looking at the headworks and aeration basins 1 and 2.
Yeah.
Those are the 2 that are probably going to be, like you say, take it down to ground, bring it back up.
Okay.
Stuff like lift station, that'll probably just be a good coating job. Because the tiered replacement repair strategy is going to be based off the condition assessment that Carrillo did 12 plus months ago. We're going to say, y'all did this condition assessment, y'all see all the concrete, take that information and tell us when we need to do things. And then if it's a complete tear out or if it's just put some coating on it.
Right.
Mhm. That's all I have unless you have any questions.
To vote to tell our trustee to vote for that, or?
I think you just heard. Sorry.
But you do have an agenda item, 1 or 2 regarding that, if you wanted to cover that item when it's next.
What do you want to, how do you want to vote?
Pardon?
I mean, I would agree with what the approach is.
I would,
That's the way you want me to vote then?
I move that we vote on what Chris said, to repair and replace and keep us in the loop on that.
And the tier system.
And the tier system, yeah.
Yeah, the whole recommendation.
Everything you said.
All 3 parts, yeah.
Yeah, it's everything that's on the memo, right?
Motion second.
A second.
Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? All right, motion carries. Good. Anything else, Mr. Meeks?
That is all I have unless you have any questions on anything.
Okay, that come out next Tuesday. All right, 14, discuss regarding consolidation of the MUD 636. I went to the MUD 6 meeting last month, and I went to 36 also. Very interesting is if you look at the agenda and you look at our agenda, they're exactly the same. So we start off with the Pledge of Allegiance and they don't, but they're exactly the same. We're going through some numbers, to see if it still makes sense from a financial standpoint. And you met with Bob. Okay. So what we're doing is, some years ago, we proposed this and we did a set of numbers with MUD 6. So we're going through those numbers and seeing if they're still make sense after all you do. And then once we get all the numbers, we'll bring it back and then we'll decide which way we want to go forward or not. And then, of course, it has to go to the voters anyway. So
Good plan.
When would the soonest it would be going to the voters?
once in a year,
Over a year.
Okay,
it'll take some time.
I'm sorry, I missed that one. I don't know what's gonna
be
happen.
more than a year, just a
Oh,
lot
yeah.
of steps.
Yeah, the last time it was done, it was 18, 24 months from start to the voters. So it takes a while to put all the stuff together. I think my understanding is from Brian is that there was a lot learned through that process that both with the 2 and 40 consolidation and then the last one with 1 and 6. So probably can go a little quicker, but it's still a pretty long process.
We're talking 2028 earliest.
maybe. I mean, it could be 2027, I guess, towards the end of the year, November election, maybe.
They don't have to be put on the ballots. That's, I mean, we're not gonna call a special election just that.
Yeah.
Any comments, any questions or anything? The one on 6 or 36 was against it. I mean, of course, everybody wants to see the numbers, how it pans out.
Thanks for going to those meetings.
Yes, thank you.
All right, item 15, attorney's report, welcome.
Hi, Cole Trollinger, just covering for Brian for the day, so. But really not too much, just wanted to remind you that you are having your joint election with Montgomery County coming up. It should be early voting, will be April 20th to 28th, and then May 2nd will be your election day. Won't have anything else for the attorney's report.
They did change the location, I guess, so it's up at Mitchell Library now. And not at the Brady Center.
Yeah.
Doesn't make a lot of sense, but I'm sure that is discussed. Okay, 17, approve and execution of a financial advisory agreement with Cedar Creek Municipal.
So 16 and 17 are pretty much together. There's a memo that looks like this that's up here. It's also on page 65. After 11 and a half years with Baird, we've decided our team of 16 has decided to separate from Baird. We've come to the realization that we now have precluded the second largest issuer or purchaser of muni debt in Texas from bidding on the deals that we represent. So we're going independent. And so the whole team is leaving, and Baird understands and cannot represent special districts moving forward once the separation occurred, which was as of April 6th. So you can see in the memo, it's an amicable separation. Baird has asked to be terminated, and the reason for that is, if you remember in 2010 with Dodd-Frank, there was a separation of the advisory versus the purchasing side. And so if they were to resign, it could potentially preclude them from bidding on other deals in the future. And so they're just asking to be terminated so that they're not precluded from the cooling off period. And so our contract, what's in here is not your contract. That's a boilerplate contract for special districts. Your contract will be the exact same. The only change would be on the name would be we're asking for a flat fee, an annual flat fee of $5,000 to cover meeting coverage, budget discussions, tax rate recommendations, exemption discussions, things of that nature. Beyond that, the contract is the same.
What contract did Baird have as far as being reimbursed?
It was a hourly fee that we never charged. We just weren't set up for it. So it's just easier. The fee is based on an hour. It's a $350 per hour cost. So that would be around 14 hours annually. And so, that's really what we're asking for.
And so basically then we're changing the name. That's it. I mean, service is the same and everything. And now
People are
you're gonna have the
paying-
fee on there.
Correct.
Am I looking at the wrong thing? I'm looking at an annual service fee of 10,000.
Yeah, so that is a boilerplate. That was for Schwartz Page to review. And so what I have is your contract. Because we represent the 10 Woodlands districts, we're looking at charging 5,000 because a lot of it will overlap, and we will be spending a lot of time up here for all districts. So we cut that in half.
And our office did review all the agreements with Cedar Creek. So
the 5,000 is for all the months.
Yes, correct. Each month, correct.
Any questions? Any comments? Okay, well, this is item 16 and 17, so we can vote on both of them at the same time. Do I have a motion?
I'll move.
Approve the contract and to agree on the contract. All right, I'll second that. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? All right, motion carries.
Thank you.
Thank you. County managers report.
All right, moving right along. I really just don't have too much this morning. We've talked about quite a bit of it. Did want to remind everybody that Our ditch work is going along very well. We've completed a lot of ditch project related things. You can see some examples of that in your packet. And then next month we'll provide a spreadsheet that we're using to keep track of all the projects that are going on, what we've done, what we have to do. So we're making great progress this year. And then obviously the crew that we hired is, up and running now. So that we've got the equipment for them and they're up and running as well. So we're using 2 different contractors as well as our crew to do all the ditch work. So it's progressing nicely. In your packet, I wanted to point out a couple fun things. Marine has served for 28 years back in March.
Glutton for punishment.
And then also we included a thank you note from some residents or a resident. I always like to include those in the packet. And that's all I had, other than communications update. We're going.
Okay.
She won't like this, but I hope it's
Before you
28
go on,
years.
right, congratulations on your 28
Yes,
years.
congratulations.
Yeah. Sure, you got that big raise, so.
Full botch and stuff, right?
She's still here.
John?
All right, page 110 starts your communications report. I wanted to take my time this morning to zero on page 111, which are our annual community survey results. So this report, so the results are not only establish knowledge and opinion levels for 2026, they also look at trends over time. Well, since 2022, which was when we implemented the strategic plan and ran our first community survey. We've been doing that roughly annually since. We have made some adjustments to this questions over time. So if you see a year not reflected, it's because we didn't have an apples to apples comparison there. I also want to note that we changed the methodology this year, I think for the better. I think we did a much better job of capturing a more representative sample of the community. So we captured a lot more folks that aren't in our standard communication stream, aren't hearing from us directly. We did that in a variety of ways. The expectation there was because these folks probably aren't hearing from us as much, that we would see a dampening of those knowledge and opinion levels. Encouragingly, we did not. This is a very positive report overall. I'll highlight some things we need to work on too, but overall, very encouraging. Including folks that said they were somewhat or very familiar with Woodlands Water. That's risen 31% over that 4-year span since 2022. Opinion levels are up 44% of Woodlands Water since 2022 and up 64% from 2022 of the MUDs. It's folks that have a favorable rating of MUDs and Woodlands Water. Folks that know where their water comes from, or that it's a blended supply at least, that's jumped almost 50% since 2022. And when we look at satisfaction levels, folks that rated themselves very satisfied or satisfied with customer service remained high at 86%. Value at 78%. That's a 21% increase from last year. And then our efforts to keep them informed, that's up 2% from 2024 from last year at just above 80%. So all very encouraging numbers, showing a lot of progress in the last 4 years with that strategic plan. Work to do. We see a noticeable lack of knowledge regarding roles and responsibilities, who does what. A lot of folks still think that we do the treatment, that we source the water. 37% did not know that San Jacinto was our wholesale water provider. So that will certainly continue to be a point of emphasis there, helping folks understand how the whole system works. Those are the highlights. One other thing I wanted to note that we have work to do on is infrastructure renewal. So, we've been hammering that message and since, for the last 3 years, and we'll continue to do so. What we're seeing though is folks that are not in our communication stream just aren't seeing it. 35% said they're either very aware or somewhat aware of current and planned water infrastructure renewal efforts. 36% said they were not aware at all. So, work to do. I encourage you to scan that QR code there. We had 26 questions in all. So a lot of really good information there. I think it's a 15-page report. I apologize. But you can see all the questions that were asked and an analysis of each one there. So,
Sorry, how many questions did you ask on?
26. And then we had 3 optional demographic questions.
You do demographic studies on who responds? I mean,
We,
like age. what?
oh yeah, it continued to trend older. So we're hearing mainly from long tenured homeowners and older folks as well. We looked at their communication preferences, a whole slew of things, but yeah, we're hearing from older folks primarily. And to that, we're seeing, that really tells me as well, combined with some other survey responses, that we really need to continue to evolve our social media and find new ways to find new demographics. We're really good with email and traditional methods that us older folks tune into, but we need to really ramp up ways to get to those younger demographics.
Well, I can remember
Social media.
when I was younger and if the water turned on when they turned off faucet, so I was happy. It's out of sight, out of mind, all that other stuff that before my faucet. So it's gonna be tough and probably need a lot of major work, but pat yourself on the back. It's pretty impressive what you're doing.
Yeah,
Well,
the
sorry.
staff should be so proud, especially the customer service number. That's unheard of.
Yeah. It really.
I mean, that's not even like close to an average of customer service. It's way above.
Yeah.
So well done.
Kudos to them. So if you go through that full report, I encourage you to, if you have any questions at all, please know.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Very encouraging. Thanks very much. Anything else? Nope. Okay, moving on to trustee reports, really nothing to add. We did talk about consolidation somewhat and then discussed what Chris wanted to do, so nothing to add there. All right, item 20, recess. We have no need to do that this morning. Okay. I'm gonna reconvene. Okay, 22 items for next agenda. Anything? Okay. Item 23, have motion to adjourn.
I think we adjourn.
Second that. All in favor, say aye. Aye. Thank you very much.
23 minutes.